Question 12. Calculate each of the following. So we have A, B, C and D. A is only worth 1 mark. So this is multiplying decimals. So the easiest way to do this is ignore the decimals in front and do 4 times 7. So 4 times 7 is 28. Now, the question wasn't asking you for 4 times 7, it was asking for 0.4 times 0.7. So you look at how many numbers are after the decimal point. So there's one number after the decimal here, and there's one number after the decimal there. So that means I have 2 numbers after the decimal point in the question. So I need 2 numbers after the decimal point in my answer. So if I put it here, that would be 1 number after the decimal point. So I need to put it here to make it 2 numbers after the decimal point. Well, you know that if there's nothing in front of the decimal, then you need to write that. So 0.28 for 1 mark. Part B, 13.8 minus 7.45. I know it's a takeaway sum using decimals and that sort of baby work, but you'd be surprised how many people actually make a mistake in these questions. So 13.8, I'm going to do a standard column method takeaway sum. So that means I need my decimals in a nice straight line in the question and in the answer. I'm taking away 7.45. Well, now I know where to put those numbers correctly because the 7 is just before the point. 4, 5. So now I've got some gaps here I need to fill in with zeros because that makes my life much easier. Now I take away. So 0 take away 5. I can't do that. I need to borrow. So when you borrow, you take 1 from this number, so it becomes a 7, and you put it over here. Now this becomes a 10, so I can do 10 take away 5 is 5. 7 take away 4 is 3. 3 take away 7. I can't do that. I'm going to have to borrow again. So the 1 now becomes a 0, and I take that 1 over here. 13 take away 7 is 6. So 6.35 for 1 mark. Part C. We have indices here, or powers. So that tells you how many times you times the number by itself. So I'm timesing that 3 by itself 3 times. So that's going to look like 3 times 3 times 3. Then I'm timesing this 2 by itself 4 times. So that'll be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So now we have to work these out. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. Times that by another 3 is 27. You always times the first 2, and then with that answer, times it by the next one. With that answer, times it by the next one, and so on. So here we've got 2 times 2 is 4. Times that by another 2 is 8. Times that by another 2 is 16. So this here says 3 to the power of 3, which we found out was 27. Take away 2 to the power of 4, which we found out was 16. So 27 take away 16 is 11. So this is my final answer. This is a 2-mark question. So the examiner will give you 1 mark for your final answer, and 1 mark if they see, or you get 2 marks straight away if you had 11. If you didn't, they'll give you 1 mark if they see either 27 or 16. So you get 1 mark for either one of those 2 numbers if you didn't have the final answer correct. We did, so that's 2 marks. Part D. So this is subtracting fractions. So they're nice and easy if the bottom number is the same, the denominator, but that number is not the same. So first of all, we need to make it the same by choosing the lowest common multiple. So that means that the lowest number in both of their times tables. So I'm going to do the 10 times table, because that's the bigger number, it's the easier one to start with, until I find a number that's also in the 5 times table. So to start the 10 times table, it looks like this, 10. Is that in the 5 times table? 5, 10. Yes, it is. So 10 is the lowest common multiple. It's the first number in both of their times tables. So that is my new bottom number, my new denominator. If you've done that, the examiner will give you 1 mark for having those two numbers the same. So now I have to follow my arrows. Let's take away. So how did I get from this bottom number, this 10, to that 10? 10 times what is 10? 10 times 1 is 10. And this one. How did I get from this bottom number to that bottom number? 5 times what is 10? 5 times 2 is 10. Now, what I do to the bottom, I've got to do to the top. So I follow the arrows again. 10 times 1 is 10. Now I need the top number. 9 times 1 is 9. Do the same over here. 5 times 2 is 10. So 3 times 2 is 6. Now, because the bottom two numbers are the same, this becomes nice and easy. All I do is take away the top numbers. So 9 take away 6 is 3, and the bottom number always stays the same. So my final answer here is 3 over 10. And that there is your final mark. I can't cancel that down anymore because there's nothing that goes into 3 and 10.